Welcome to Before the Bid, your connection to some of the world's best livestock sales. Stay tuned as your host, Andy Howe, takes you coast to coast, stopping along the way to talk with producers about their operation, their livestock, and of course, their upcoming sales. Let's get to it.
Welcome, livestock friends, to this Before the Bid podcast. And on this one, we have three people on the other end of the line, and we're going a long way away here, especially from where I'm at. We've got two of them in Oklahoma, and we actually have one of them in Oregon. And we're going to be talking about a sale here, an online sale that's going to be held on October 24th, and it is going to be on SC Online Sales, and they're calling it the Cattleina Mixer. And again, that's on October 24th on SC. And from Oklahoma, I've got the man Jared Bain. He's back on. He was just here a week or so ago. And so I want to welcome Jared Bain back, and he's kind of got these two together. They're going to have that Cattleina Mixer. And we're also going to a guy that's from Caw City, Oklahoma, and also we're going to be out in La Grande, Oregon. I have on the phone with me again Jared Bain. I've got Jim Dobson from Dobson Ranch there in Oklahoma, who's currently in Kansas City tonight. And from McCoy Angus, I have Katelyn McCoy, again from La Grande, Oregon. And guys, want to welcome you to the podcast, and had a lot of fun and getting ready for some more.
Yeah, thanks, Andy, for having us on.
Yeah, super happy to be here and talk to you.
Again, excited about this one, getting to know you guys. It's been a lot of fun so far, and so I am interested in the stories that you guys have. Jared, let's start with you. Tell a little bit about yourself. Again, if you listen to the Revolution podcast, why Jared was on there as well, and he's been on before, and Jared, a past ag teacher, so we kind of have a little background there. But Jared, you kind of got these guys together to have this sale. So if you would, tell us a little bit about what you do and a little about your background and getting these two together.
I do help Jim, and I've helped Katelyn and the McCoy family out there, and basically what I do is I consult for some people. I go to these shows. I don't consider myself really I guess I am a fitter, but I'm
good one.
more of a cattleman that can run a set of shears. I do have that education background, so I'm lucky I get to go out and help these families and get up and down the road and spend a lot of time on the road, but I like to get back to the ranch and help Jim and them and John there, and then obviously we help Neil and with that Revolution sale, right. And get to go out and help Katelyn at Reno, and finally this summer me and Bailey got to go out there and make that visit and kind of put this deal together. So we haven't had any female sales like this. So we've had a production sale with Dobson's, but we haven't had a female sale like this. It's all been private treaty, and I thought there was a deep enough set for sure this year, probably the deepest we've ever had, that they need to be offered up in a sale to everybody. And this was a great time with going to visit them, and Katelyn wanting to get these cattle out here to Oklahoma instead of just being on the West Coast, because I think these cattle can really get out here not only in the ring but the real world and perform. And so we're just offering everything up, and we got Bailey came up with a Cattleina Mixer here. Well, it was a Cattleina wine mixer, and she's handling the wine right now. And so
she's taking care of that part of it.
The Cattleina Mixer. That's kind of my rundown.
That sounds cool, and Bailey into this as well, with both of you two working together. And now, I meant to ask the other night, Jared, did Bailey really have someone come from Indiana out to Oklahoma to get their hair done from her and then turn around and drive back?
Yeah, she really did.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, if they're around this area, they'll come and make sure and track her down. So shout out to 27 Salon there in Stillwater, and she's making some headway, and I think has a lot of new clients, and it seems like they're just keep on coming. So,
hey, I can't really complain. I may or may not have flown from Oregon to get mine done.
Oh my gosh.
So that may or may not have happened too. I'm not sure how much far that is from Indiana, but that did happen.
Oh my. Yeah, it's that's farther driving than from Indiana, that's for sure.
I took the easy way out. I flew,
there you
but
go.
still.
There you go. All for a hairdo.
A good one, a really good one. But that's
That's what Jared and Jim and I do on our days off, is we fly around to see who can cut our hair, don't we?
Oh yeah.
Jim's kind of quiet down there still. Jim, why don't you hop in here a little bit? You've got some balancer and some Gelvies, and not just a few of them. You've got a whole lot of them. But one thing that I wanted you to tell us a little about your history, as far as is it in the balancer breed, you are membership number 1. Is that correct?
The ranch holds member number 1, the very first membership ever issued to a Gelfie breeder in the United States. Yes.
Okay. How and why did that happen? Tell us a little bit of history, if you would.
Dad had a dream of bringing some cattle over from some exotic type cattle, when he was in college at Oklahoma State back in the early 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And him and some of his fraternity brothers got together along with a couple other guys, Gallagher Rule and another guy from Kansas. And Gallagher had seen these cattle over in Germany when he was in the military. And so that's how it all kind of got started. And then they got the breed association up and running, and we got the first membership, and Gallagher was the first president.
Oh, wow. Now, were you guys the first to bring Gelvie in?
No, live animals weren't available. It was brought in semen through a company, Carnation. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not.
Yeah.
They brought it in, and they were AI and everything from Holsteins to whatever they could get their hands on at that time. Cows were really hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
I know Dad told a story one time that he AI'd a bunch of Holstein cows for a guy, and he was supposed to get the heifers, and the guy was supposed to keep all the steer calves. I'll be damned, there wasn't a heifer one.
No way.
That's what the story was.
Oh, my. That's about like...
So apparently he must have really liked them to hide those heifers out.
Oh, my. So that didn't work out very well then. So they went back to breed more of them and just kept right on going with them.
Yeah, most of the stuff that got bred there at the ranch were either the Angus or Herefords.
Okay.
My grandpa and dad had sold bulls previous to the whole Gelfie deal.
Okay.
I think Grandpa had the Hereford deal, and Dad had the Angus.
And then they decided that Gelvie's kind of the way they wanted to go as well.
Yeah, I mean, Dad got into the Lemmy deal. He actually got into the Key deal early on. He went up to Canada and bought some that were in quarantine, and somehow got them out of quarantine and across that line somehow. But he was kind of a mover and a shaker back in the day, I guess. He was very young, too, like maybe 25 when this was all going on.
Wow, so innovative.
Pretty much.
That's awesome. How did you come in? Well, I know how you came into the mix, but what have you done here recently to kind of keep carrying this on, and what's your role in some of this?
Well, I actually was off doing some other stuff. Neil and I had that construction company I think y'all talked about on an episode previous.
Right.
And I went through that and did all that, and about 2009 I decided it's time to get back in the cattle deal, and my brother and Dad had a really nice set of purebred Gelfie cows still, maybe 40, 50 head. And I said, if we're going to do this thing, I want to get in the balancer deal. I went out to Denver a couple times and walked around, and that really intrigued me. Because when you grow up in the Gelfie deal and in the 70s and 80s and 90s, all your friends make fun of you for being a guppy guy.
Right.
Even your ag teacher.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So when it come John and I's turn to start making the breeding decisions, Clint Peterson found us a really nice set, like 140 or 50 Angus cows that had, went back to EXT 6807, that kind of stuff. And we started breeding them to Gelfie bulls, and then the purebreds that we bred those to a few Angus bulls. And here we are, 12, 13 years later, and here's where we're at.
Okay.
I wanted the breed to come into mainstream where more than just people in the breed could appreciate
it.
So that was goal number one.
And I think you've made it happen.
I've heard that we're doing pretty good.
I would have to agree from the things that I've seen. And you guys now you're showing quite a bit and selling quite a bit of show cattle and things like that, and you're kind of getting after it and making a storm.
We're traveling the pavement pretty hard these days.
Right. Give us a few of those that you've been really successful at.
Jared might have to help me with this. I believe we have won every show we've ever been to at some point or another,
Mm-hmm.
and several of them multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Louisville, we've won. I can think of, I know we've won that twice. Kansas City, numerous times. We've had Supreme Bred Known Heifer at OIE, Dixie National. Of course, we've had those breed champions at Tulsa and OIE.
Mm-hmm.
The Nile.
We won the purebred show at the Nile in Kansas City with the customers heifer the
And
same
Billings.
day in Billings, and that would be when we met Katelyn
Mm-hmm.
and Sandy and everybody out there. That was our first interaction there.
Okay.
So we've been around the country and done pretty good, and then we've won Cattlemen's Congress and Champion Pen of Heifers, Reserve Champion Pen of Bulls this year,
Mm-hmm.
Junior Nationals 2 years in a row. So yeah, we've done pretty decent.
Right. Getting after it. Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
you guys just had some success here at the Tulsa State Fair.
Yeah, we showed our balancer bull, who actually wasn't even going to go, and we had him all ready to go to get what we thought was going to be a hernia surgery, and it turns out that Jim gets him down there, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they said you brought the wrong bull. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's great.
Jim, you threw
Yeah,
the wrong
so
one
you
on
brought
there.
The wrong bull, 'cause-
But Mr. Dobson, did you bring a different bull to us this time? Nah, that's the same one.
yeah, and so he hadn't been on feed since Junior Nationals after his reserve at Junior Nationals, and we had him checked out. Said, yeah, he needs it, and he didn't need it, so we got him. We just threw him on the trailer. He had no bath since then. We washed him, clipped him, threw him on the trailer with Katelyn's Angus heifer, and went over there, and he wins the breed and is third overall Supreme Bull.
Oh my.
So, and that I do believe that's the first time a balancer has ever got in the top 3 at that show. So we're pretty happy to get in there with that. So
Right, and that's not the only one that you guys have had the Supreme or right up at the Supreme on the overall breeds, right?
no, I mean that Friday heifer,
We've had customers that have had them in there and in the heifer at OIE.
That's neat, yeah, and especially the one that wasn't even supposed to go. So it's I told.
Well, we got to thank Katelyn, because if she wouldn't have had that heifer, we would never win at all.
Right.
no,
So I'll take full credit. All right, don't worry, it's
Yeah.
fine. Don't
That
worry.
worked.
you bring in the luck, so you're stuck.
Well, I think they took all the luck because my heifer didn't do as well as I was hoping. So the luck
Yeah.
got shoved that way.
Well, I
She
guess
got a lot of
compliments.
attention in the barn.
She
Yeah,
did
sure.
get a lot of attention. She was
Yeah.
definitely one of the ones I
Very,
had
very
guys.
nice heifer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
Cody Smith came over and said, "Hey, that thing's pretty good." I said, "Well, go get your clippers." And he walked down there to the semi. I grabbed his clippers and came back and helped me clip her. So
Just 'cause
that
he
don't
liked
just
her, yeah.
happened. It just,
That means a little
Yeah, for
something,
sure.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, and isn't it always the luck that we just brought this one along to be the buddy, the partner, and then they're the one that ends up doing pretty well.
Oh, definitely.
I'll
take that.
Isn't
luck.
it a great frustration?
I just sat over there the whole time wondering what I could make out of that heifer if we used Geltzy bulls.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I was like, I knew that was coming.
Yeah. Well, Jim, you think we could get some of those Gelvies or the balancers on the Simmentals and make them better?
We've actually done that. We have some balancers that actually have a little bit of semi in
Okay.
it, because you can have 12.5% unknown. We've actually made some
Yeah,
white
we have
face
white face.
balancers.
Yeah.
Cool. And that was my next question. What all do you have, if you want to tell us, what all do you have in some of those balancer cattle? Because you talked about being in the Limmies and the Gelvies and the Angus and that sort of thing.
It's 99.9% of them we've only used either Red Angus or Angus, mostly Angus.
Okay.
Most of our cattle are black.
Okay. So not much in the Lemmy or anything like that with them.
No, but strictly Angus and a little bit of Red Angus along the way.
Okay. Sounds good. Katelyn McCoy out in La Grande, Oregon, and you're going to run these cattle, or you did run these cattle all the way to Stillwater, Oklahoma, and that's just a little bit of a drive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 22, 26 hours. Yeah, it's just a little jog down the road, right?
Right. Well, but you had spent a few years there as well.
Yeah, I went to El Reno for 2 years and then finished my degree at Oklahoma State. So I did that trip back and forth countless times.
Right. And then you get hooked up with these guys.
Yeah. Like he was saying, we met them in Nile, actually.
Okay.
We were having an online sale there, and he came down, and just kind of like a random matter of fact, he came down, and he's like, gosh, that's a nice heifer, and ended up buying her. So,
Yeah.
It all starts somewhere, right?
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So you guys have just kind of stayed together and stayed in touch, and you've had some things out in Oregon. You've had a couple sales, and really you're cutting a swath out there as well.
Yeah, no, we've had some online sales over the last couple of years. We did some consignments and stuff like that, but it's hard over here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, calves that should be selling for, what they should be selling for in the Midwest, we can get like a quarter,
Mm-hmm.
if not even half. I'm a first generation breeder.
Okay.
I didn't really have a whole lot of backstory to me. I mean, I bought, my own little herd of 20 heifers and cows and one bull with my money I bought from steers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's kind of how I started. So I didn't have a whole lot of extra oomph that a lot of these, ranches have because they've been around for generations.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing what we can, but it's definitely a little bit harder over here in the Northwest, especially just because we just don't get as much exposure as a lot of those people over in the Midwest and that kind of place over there. We just don't get that as much.
Right. So you've decided you're going to go through the work and go through the miles and go through the time and get them into Oklahoma with these guys so that they can
get some exposure.
Right.
Definitely have some people be able to. I think a lot of the people that the problem, one, shipping. I mean, that's always an
Mm-hmm.
issue. They just don't always are like, I don't really want to spend the money, but they'd ship one from Illinois to somewhere else,
Right.
or somewhere close, and they have no problem thinking about
Right.
it. But that 22-hour, 26-hour, that's a bit of a jaunt, so a lot of people don't really like put that into perspective of what they're thinking. So
Right. Well, you're exactly right, because I've looked at a guy from out there. Our very first podcast came from Redmond, Oregon.
Yep.
Up there at K-Bar-D. And so we've looked at some of those as well and trying to bring those out, and it's like, that's a long way to bring those cattle.
He's actually, he has having a sale in Oklahoma as well.
Right.
This year. We'll see how that goes. You never know.
All of you coming down figuring out maybe Oklahoma's the place is what you're hoping, right?
I'm hoping just cattle get into good hands, and people appreciate our cattle. And I think as Jared and I have spent a lot of time talking about this, he's like, you're the kind of cattle that the Midwest strives for.
Uh-huh.
We're stout, we're sound, we're still feminine, but we have some, I mean, there's more to my cattle than a lot of what's trending right now, and so it's nice to have somebody who appreciates what we're selling and what we have as a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been really nice.
Mm-hmm. As I mentioned a little bit ago, you guys are kind of cutting the swath. You guys have done really, really well. Tell us about some of those.
We had a really good run this year, kind of state fair wise. We were a champion in Oregon, both the junior and the open, with a heifer I call Mo. She's a primo out of a Conversation Elba cow, and then she turned around and was reserve at the Washington ROV show behind one of my other heifers.
Right.
So can't really complain, but
Been the stick.
yeah, but I think it was the guy on the stick that really did it for me. Dean Jansen came down and judged it, and he said, he's like, that's one hell of a heifer. He's just like, that is a massive creature.
Right.
And she was, the one that won. She's a surveillance daughter out of a first-class cow, but she hadn't quite had her time to shine, but that day she hit it right, and she looked good.
Mm-hmm.
That was like her day. So, and then it flip-flopped in the junior show, so I can't really complain either way, but
Right.
And then I always had success and stuff when I was showing as a junior, but it's a little harder when you get up into, just showing open. It's kind of a different ball
Right.
game.
Right. Absolutely agree with that. Jared, now did I understand right? Did you show one of those?
Yeah, we did quite well in that show and out there in Washington and the Open, and they had to sink down and let me show one. And I
I'm
grabbed
not.
a big girl, and we went out there, and I was waiting for that Mo heifer to win it, and he kind of walked around by me, and I thought he was just going to kind of make that loop around like sometimes I do and walk down the
Right.
line, and
Get that reserve look,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, and I was like, I think we could be reserved with this heifer, but no, he just walked right up to me, and so
The
that
shock on his face, though, let me tell you,
yeah,
that was pretty
I was like,
priceless.
okay, I really do expect the other heifer to win, but Katelyn was talking about the power and stuff from cattle, and me and Bailey went out this summer and spent a week out there, and those cattle are so good. They're not your typical Angus. I mean, there's a few places in Oklahoma have some Angus like that, but I mean, these are big-footed, sound cattle that they live on the mountain up there,
Mhm.
and they've got to be like Joe Horseman says when cattle that are powerful and have muscle come back around, then we'll be in business. And McCoys are definitely in business right now with that. So.
Right. I agree. I think we got to get some of that back in them. Yeah, that's awesome. You've already got it. You can look at the pictures. You're, kind of scrolling through some of your stuff on Facebook, and yeah, you guys, your cows are powerful and big, broody, and just really, really high quality.
We've had a couple really nice heifers come around this last year. They don't always, they don't always fit picture perfect or what everybody's looking for, but they fit picture perfect in what I want
Right.
and what I, strive for. And yeah, they may not always be the most choke fronted, feminine, but when you have a little bit more top, back, butt to them, you're going to have a little bit of shoulder, and with that, you're going to have a little bit of throat. There's no, the perfect heifer. You always look for the perfect heifer. That's that big top, big butt, big belly with this little giraffe front, and that's just like, in retrospect, they don't make them like that. They just don't. They fall apart in one way or another. So I was trying to strive more towards making a balanced female
Mhm.
instead of a freaky female. Get me wrong, we have some freaks, but
Yeah. But I mean, that heifer that we did buy out of there, and she came to Oklahoma that we bought from that sale from Katelyn last time, was in the sale. That one did come down to win the spring division, which is one of the toughest divisions at OYE.
Mhm.
The Angus show probably might be the toughest of all the shows there. She did win that spring division, so their cattle can come down here and get in the show ring and get it done too.
Right.
So
That's good when they can do that. Katelyn, I shouldn't say this because we on this podcast we talk a lot about the big butted, big top, choke fronted. We talk a lot about those, but you are speaking my language on a personal level. I am all on board with
Mine too.
that kind. Yeah, and that's why and I'm an ag teacher, and there isn't any way in heck I'm going to make sure make fun of anybody that's going to have some guppies. Because man, I admire all of those cattle and the way they look and the power that they have, and yeah, they're going to have a little bit to them, maybe have a little bit of front to them, but
the hard part is it's not like they're not feminine.
Right.
I mean, like, these calves have got the front end, they've got the extension, they've got the look and the presence.
Right.
It's just they just have more to them.
Right.
I mean, they're just like massive foot, massive bone, big top.
Right.
They've got plenty of belly and everything else. And the other thing and I know Jared and I have talked a lot about this, my cattle are long. They are long-spined creatures.
Mhm. And Katelyn, you have the Angus and some Simmental as well.
Real new to the semi thing. We're just kind of starting out. We sold those last sale. We sold 3 of them. There were some bankrolls out of a Elver, I think she was an Elverelda cow that we bought from Rock and R. And I was like, God, I'm a big fan.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know where these things have been my entire life, but I like it.
Mhm.
And so that kind of started it. And I had a couple of friends have them, and I was like, oh yeah, they're nice, whatever,
Right.
and then we ended up buying a bull from Cattleina Ranches this last year. That's a pure blood. that really made some nice replacement females. Like every time we were out in the field, and literally every time between the like ones that I had already picked out that I knew Jared was gonna like, every other heifer he picked out was a half blood out of that bull.
Oh yeah.
And him and Big Lake both were like, "Holy crap, what is that? What is that? What is?" I'm like, "Those are all half bloods." He goes, "Dang!" He's like, "I can't believe." I mean, they're all just, I mean, unique, awesome, gonna make great cows.
We're still speaking the same language because we kind of got in a semi deal a little bit around here too, and they're pretty fun.
Well, they're easy. They're easy for, like an Angus breeder to have just like a little bit of extra something, without having to go completely another breed to make like, Jim's doing with the balancers. I mean, you're still taking your foundation cows and just making them better.
Right.
And that's what you're always striving to do, is always make something better, whether it be a different breed, the same breed, or something else. You're always trying and striving to do better.
Absolutely agree. Let's get into this sale a little here. And again, we're talking about the Cattleina Mixer, and it's going to be on SC Online. Go down to October 24th, and that's where we're going to find it. Where can we find a little more information and get a hold of you guys? We've got some Facebook pages and things that we can go and like or friend you guys, I guess.
I'm, basically doing the sales management on this, and me and Bailey, and so we'll be posting all that stuff on social media, Snapchat, any of those things, Instagram. I know Bailey's into some of that. I'm not quite into that, but we'll have that out there. And then, of course, you can go to that SC and view the sale. If we probably had a little less stock showing going on right now, we try to come up with a catalog. But I think right now we're just trying to get this off the ground. This will be their first sale altogether. And so that's kind of what we're doing, just basic social media and that. And so.
Okay.
And McCoy Angus has one as well that you can go like. Yeah. I'm also posting everything on my personal Katelyn McCoy one as well. And I don't have an Instagram for the ranch, but I post it on my Instagram as well.
Okay.
And then Dobson Ranch has a page as well. And so there's multiple avenues of places to find those cattle as well as the SC websites.
Right. And if you need some entertainment, Jim Dobson, I got on there earlier, and I think some of you guys will understand this. I think Jim and Donnie Baker are flush mates, I think.
I'm not quite as crazy.
But just if you need to see it and watch Donnie Baker's flush mate, well, go watch Jim Dobson and some of those videos that you put out. The skid loader video and the air freshener video and some of that. They're pretty entertaining.
Yeah, common sense in less than a minute.
That's what it is.
What is it? What is it that makes a good air freshener, Jim?
Pink oil.
Yeah.
Pink oil. Yes.
Yeah.
True.
I got that from my old buddy, Magnificent Mike Morlow.
Yeah.
Now, should we spray that right down in the vents or what?
Return air.
Oh.
Yeah.
It goes through the whole system.
I got to laughing about that earlier. I thought, man, this guy's he's a trip. He's a trip.
Yeah, my nephew was spraying it in the return air on the pickup on the way to Kansas City today.
Oh my. So yeah, if you need a little more knowledge other than just cattle and on this sale, why go check out Jim Dobson's Facebook page and it'll get there. So again, the Cattleina Mixer, October 24th. Let's go down through some of these here, and we're kind of going to go back and forth, let Jared kind of lead this thing, and then you guys kind of chime in on your cattle. We're going to start out with a McCoy heifer. Here is the lot one. Got a banker. She's a 3/4 Simmental, an April female.
This is one that when we got out there to McCoy's this summer, we really liked this heifer. Big, capacious heifer. I mean, just has tons of rib and depth. She's still got enough look for the show ring, but you asked this one to get out and go. She's long-hipped. Katelyn was talking about that length of spine. Obviously, in order to get around their place, up and down, those cattle have to move, and this one just struck us really hard. I like this one quite a bit.
Looking at a picture of her, she is good, smoking good.
Yeah, I think this one's really good, and Titan can tell us a little more about that cow.
This has been one's my favorite. So I actually ended up buying my first cow that I've ever purchased with like my own money. Everything else kind of goes through the ranch.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a cow I actually just kind of picked up on the way back from when we dropped off the sale calves last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of like, oh, she's a nice heifer. She's, going for the right amount of money I was hoping to spend. So we kind of picked her up. She was really sweet. And I was like, oh, she's a nice heifer. Perfect. So that's actually, I have a first calf
Oh,
heifer, which,
wow.
like I said, if that's what's coming, I am beyond
Oh,
stoked.
yeah.
This thing, and like I said, this thing just, as soon as you get in the pen, you're like, God, what is that thing? Because she's just an absolute sweetheart too. Every time you go in the pen, she's almost obnoxious because she's over there
Oh, she
licking on
definitely
you and stuff. But she is, yeah. But
this one's a
she,
little kid, like a puppy dog broke.
Yeah.
yeah, and she has been like that. I mean, like the first time we ever tied her up, she was chewing her cud, hanging out. Like, hey, are we ready to go in the barn? Like, what's the plan here?
Mhm.
But yeah, she was definitely one that struck us really hard. Yeah, I mean, ever since birth, she's definitely one that I think will do well as a cow, especially if she's anything like her mom as a first calf heifer, and that's what she's producing.
Mhm.
I think she's going to be one that's going to be super competitive in the show ring as well as once you get her out, which I think is something we really try hard for.
Mhm.
We want both. We want, we don't just want one. We want kind of the full
Right.
package. So,
Right. Absolutely. And that's a loaded up female that we're talking about is her mother.
yeah, she's out of a loaded
Hmm.
up son.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she is super good. Go check her out. Of course, if it's up on SC by the time you're listening, why do that? But if not, go to the McCoy Angus, or even Jared's got her posted up there. This one's really eye catching here on this one. Jim, we're coming to you for the lot 2. We've got a first step out of an insight. We got a quarter balancer female here, a March one.
This is out of Jim's first step bull. If you look at that, he's out of a sire called Next Step.
Mhm.
And then you study that cow family on the bottom side of first step. He was reserve national champion as calf, but he's actually out of a Denver first class cow. That was called Cassandra back on the Bella Impact 5032 cow. And that cow herself has produced a ton of champions through multiple breeds, the semi breed. I know Sarah Sullivan and Tanner Howie's had some cattle out that goes back to that 5032. And so you start studying the pedigree on the first step. He's produced multiple national champions for us at the ranch. And then it goes back to an insight female in that 548, Dobson 548 seed cow. This one, Jim's asked me if I've replaced some semen on when we were doing stuff, because this one's built like a Maine heifer. She's totally unique
Mhm.
from anything that we've probably ever raised. I mean, long fronted, huge top. She just has the profile that's unstoppable. And then you ask her to get out and move. And she's one that I've had my eye on since she's been about 2 months old, and just keeps on getting better and better and better.
Right. Jim, I absolutely agree with you on your thinking on this one. I think I think he might have gotten something mixed up there. I mean, this thing, she is so sweet looking and rip fronted here for a quarter balancer female.
Yeah, and I'm over here kind of laughing at Jared because when he was talking about the Bella 5032 sudden impact cow, that was also Aftershock's mother.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them about that, Jim, with Aftershock and Neil and all that.
Somehow it's back when we were doing those first class flushes.
Uh-huh.
And something happened in the cow. I wasn't able to get a cow down there, but Jason Fincannon called and was telling me about this 5032 cow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I knew about the cow. I mean, anybody in Oklahoma knew about that cow. So we made a deal to get her down to the flush house, and we flushed her to first class, and we got Aftershock and First Step's mother, the 549 cow.
Mm-hmm.
And then Neil got involved, and we got Aftershock back as a weaned calf after we weaned him. I took him down to Neil's, and he ended up being the Supreme Bull at Tulsa back in 16 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then Griswold's bought half of him and took him to Kansas City, and he won the Angus show there. And we'll talk about him later on. Got some stuff later on in the sale.
Okay.
There's some couple of Aftershock daughters in
Okay.
there.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get down there. We're going back to the McCoy. We got the Lot 3. She's a Insight Angus female here out of first class, and we got a fall here.
Yeah, this is an Insight. When we went to Reno, Katelyn had a full sister. This one's a full sister to the Ariel,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So really like that one. We went out there and they had 4 sisters standing there, and we sorted through those. And I really urge them to offer up some of these princesses because that cow that's my type of Angus cow for sure. Just big, stout, and powerful. She's a first class out of Green's Princess 1012, which would be a full sip to blue chip. So there's a genetic package here that is just amazing. And me and Bailey picked the one that we thought would be probably most competitive in the show ring. But I mean, the breeding potential, I don't know where you go to find a first class princess. And then you got an Insight first class princess in this dog this fall right here that, she's going to have her time in the show ring. But I think down the road, we've talked about these cattle are not just show ring cattle. This is an investment right here that I think is big time. And probably you're going to have to go spend a lot of money. I'd hate to know the number of zeros you'd have to write to get one with this breeding behind them. And Katelyn and Sandy and Terry are offering this one up.
Right. Katelyn, how do you do that?
Oh, you got to part with some good ones, right? Isn't that how that works? As much as it
True
hurts.
story. That's
the cool thing about her is there's direct granddaughters or great-granddaughters or daughters of daughters of daughters out of that 10-12, but very rarely do you get a direct daughter. I mean, she is like a flush mate to same year that they put in Blue Chip and Blue Chip was born. I mean, that was the same year. So when I picked her up, I had no idea what I was getting into. And I remember Jared, he's like, "You have what? And you're doing what with her?"
Yeah.
And you're what? Huh? And I'm like, "Oh, sorry." I was like, "I feel like I just offended him." And I didn't know him very well at first. And he was like, "What do you mean you're not doing, like, what?" I'm speechless. Like, we need, okay, let's, and then the ideas started flying. And so it was like, okay, so after we had kind of talked to him, we had done some Insight, we had done some this, done some that, because a lot of these national champions are Insights, are breedings, the Insight sons, even like we got some Blacklist coming up later in the sale. The Insight in that princess family, it's a home run. I mean, they are going to be tremendous show heifers, and then they're going to turn around and make one hell of a cow. I mean, they are just massive, powerful, big foot, big bone, but still have that front end to them that just like goes on for days. And she is one that like, her time, she didn't wean off as great as I was hoping. She just was, sometimes they just don't wean off out of mom. They've got a bad recip. And so I was like, her time will come. And then when Jared came down, he goes, "Oh no, her time's now." And I'm like, okay. I was like, right on. So
by looking at her picture, I agree with that. Yeah, her time. Yeah. What are you waiting on? She's ready to roll.
Yeah. And this one wasn't on show feed when we picked her out. I mean, she was raw. We developed her slowly. I mean, there's no need. You don't have to overfeed these cattle. They're performing on very little. And she's come down here and done great. And I mean, she's going to be in condition to look at. This one's right at the age. She's going to be bred this fall, and she's right to breed. And then you can keep her going. And the new owner's going to be really happy with this one.
We go on to the Lot 4. We've got Gelfie here, top dog. She's a January female.
This one's an 81.3 for you guys. And just to break that down, I mean, there's a percentages of Gelfie on those, but the show ring, the way, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but at 75, those cattle you can make the choice of showing them Balancer or Gelfie, which I would, if I had one at 75, I'd probably always show her in the purebred division, just having a little Angus influence in them. But this one right here, I think this one's, I've told Jim, I didn't want to drag one up and down or put one out there again. I mean, the last one we put out there won Louisville and Kansas City for Novox, but I wanted to make these cattle have a little bit more of that look, that Balancer look. And this one for sure does. And you line these things up on how good they are for their breed, and this one's the best one that I can think that we've produced at the ranch. And she is out of the first step
she's the real deal. I've been around this deal long enough to know that showing as a purebred, this one could really get out there and do some special things.
I don't think you can. I haven't seen one that looks like this, and I've been around with Jim now for, what was that first year? 16?
Yeah.
16. They've been in the same year Aftershock. So got a few years in now with this, and I've never seen a purebred look like this. Ever.
Yeah, go check her out. If you're just listening, make sure you go check her out because she is really super good. Absolutely agree with you. Yeah, you don't see them like that every day.
Out of a first calf heifer.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, out of a first calf heifer too.
Jeez.
So
she's good.
Updated genetics worked on that.
Right,
one.
right. You better just own her instead of having to try to compete against her, right?
You do not want to compete against this one in that purebred division.
We go to lot 5. We go back to the Angus division here, McCoy's, and we've got a blacklist here. She's a March female.
We just got done with that Insight, the first class princess, and we've got another one here. And so this one's a springborn. Katelyn changed it up on it, and we've got a blacklist out of this one. Extremely long spined. This one gets out and moves. She's sleek fronted. She's got a little bit more of, I guess, if you're wanting that show ring look, and I would say she's a little bit longer necked, but this one's good as well, and you're getting that genetic package in this one.
We weren't quite sure what we were going to get this year. We ended up actually keeping a full sib to her just to kind of see how things were going to develop and stuff, because we didn't quite know. And I got a lot of compliments of her and that breeding, and they said, God, that really seemed to work, especially at Oregon and Washington. I mean, there was a lot of people that came around and looked at cattle and stuff, and there was a couple people who have seen our program, especially since I've came home from college and whatnot, and so it's kind of nice to see what I've been working towards is working. So it's kind of been kind of fun to see everything grow. And this is one that, I mean, like I said, genetically, she's a home run.
Right.
Big foot, big bone. She's really stout, but she's got that freaky front end in her that just is super long and extended, but still got plenty of middle to her. It'll be really interesting. She is a little bit greener than the rest of them, but she definitely is one that you get her to a big bred, she's going to be killer.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think the person needed to push that one at all. I mean, she's going to get there
Just let her
quick.
cruise.
Yeah.
Good deal. Yeah, we like those. Just keep feeding them and rolling right on with them. So, the lot 6, we go back and we've got another one of those 75% Gelvies here. We got a blackjack, and she's a March female as well.
This is one of them ones you could show either way. My preference is always go that purebred side in the show ring, but this one's got the look as well. In fact, we've had people buy that like this one better than anything out there, but this one is dense. I mean, and by saying that, I mean, she's got big legs. She's stout. The muscle is just tremendous in this one. She's probably cleaner neck than most of those things are, and chested. And like I said, I wanted these things to have that look of the balancer, but in a higher percentage package, and the breed up program that Jim does is obviously working in this. And that blackjack bull would be the 801 bull, and that goes back to some of the breed guys would know that the Infinity bull.
Okay. Yeah, Jim, she's pretty good.
When we first went through him, I thought she was a balancer.
Yeah, he had to call me and say, hey, go look at that one again, because we thought she was a balancer, and then we found out that she was a 75, and she immediately got wings. So
let's get her rolling.
Well, Trent actually found that one.
Yeah, Trent Ray came up, and he found that one, and Trent's obviously had success with our program and reserve national champion last year, and with JoJo, and so he breeds these cattle and really likes these cattle and enjoys their performance. So
good deal. Yeah, another high quality one. Let's go to the lot 7 here. We got a first round pick, and she's a February, and she's a quarter balancer.
This is the one that I think most people are gravitating towards. That first round pick bull, he would be a first step son, first round pick. we had showed him at Congress the first initial year there. Definitely had tons of fans on that bull, and in the breed and out of the breed. Studied that one's pedigree, and that one is out of an Aftershock daughter. So obviously Aftershock would be the I guess a sister to him would be the mother to First Step. So this one's kind of a double bred deal, and it's inbreeding if it doesn't work, and it's line breeding if it does, and we just line bred the heck out of this one. So this one is flat good, and I mean, we've got people from outside the breed looking at this one too. She's so unique, stout, huge rib, neck comes out of the top of her shoulder like we like them, but the power and mass in this one, I think this one's donor quality all the way.
Right. Jim, you got an Angus guy looking at this one now.
There's a bunch of Angus guys looking.
Oh, you just added one more.
Those pictures at the phone went.
Yeah, you just.
She's really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just added one more.
I don't think you have a problem winning the state fair in the breed with that one. I mean, I think that one's it's going to be a battle on if you got a power guy or a typical show ring phenotype guy between that 548 and this one on a national level. So this is a national caliber heifer.
She's really, really good. Katelyn, we're coming back to you on this lot 8. Man, Jared, how did you come back to Oklahoma after being out there and seeing where she gets to take these pictures from?
Well, actually, when we went out there, it rained the whole time, and it was 115.
Oh, no.
When we got back, and we had to go to sweepstakes in Springfield, Missouri, and we didn't want to. And after Sandy's cooking, we definitely didn't want to come back.
Oh my God.
They gained a few pounds coming back from that.
I went up to pant size after that week. So,
she's a 3 meal a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Big meals.
You don't skip a
home
meal.
cooked.
Oh, that's the best.
Snacks in between.
Even on the road. So, yeah, it's beautiful out there for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do the winters, but I would definitely do the summers out there.
Yeah, all that rain. That's why it's so nice and green and lush and looks really cool in these pictures, and especially all of them. But looking at this lot 8, man, that's a heck of a background there. We got a March blacklist here.
I just kept following this one around. I mean, she would say, well, this is this and this is that, and kind of go in and one ear and out the other, because this is my type. I mean, straight out. She's extremely long spine. She's got plenty of rib, and this one moves just so good. I mean, being around Jim, I mean, we're soundness Nazis, and this one fits my bill completely. I mean, you don't have to worry about any of that. I love the way her sternum sits in her. She's not big chested, but she's square sternum, and I think that one's got a look just really long hipped. Like I said, I may be wrong.
I had to beat him off her.
Yeah.
And to start looking at other ones, because I couldn't. I was like, Kate, we know, Jared, you like that one. Kate, next. Now we got it. And he's like, that one. I'm like, you just looked at her. Okay, I'm going to sort her off. He was consistent, that's for sure. He was definitely consistent.
Well, she's good. She's good.
Yeah, no, she is one that really, I mean, and I mean, all of them have really put on and kind of got where they need to be. But this one, I mean, even from the time, when they left my house, I'm like, God, she looks really good. And then my parents took them over and did all that. And then I turned around and I flew over there and I saw her and I was like, holy camole. Like, that thing is just wicked. Like, and she is just massive, massive gutted, super hairy. She's great out of her front end, and she sits really high out of her, really high out of her shoulders in that front end. And I think she's got plenty of muscle to her. She is sound as a cat, and she floats when she walks. You can't stop looking at her because she just like throws that head up, and you're like, what is that? Every time she comes around, and you can have 60 calves in there, and I bet you money you'll keep looking at her over and over and over. But she's really come on from the time, she left, and she's definitely one that you definitely need to go look at, because I promise you the picture does not do her justice.
Oh, wow.
She is going to be yeah, she's going to be one, like he was talking about donor pin. That's one you want to make females out of,
Yeah, she's good, especially if that picture doesn't do her justice.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I just took another one the other day. I don't know if he sent you that one or not, but she captures your eye and catches your eye every time she walks by. You're like, God, what is that thing? And she is sound and big bellied, long spined. She's going to make it one heck of a show heifer. And then I think she's going to be a really good cow. We showed her maternal sister and she won her division pretty much everywhere she went. The cow we actually got, that's a Severa's cow, out of a Status Quo, which is a bull was one of their herd bulls that they bred pretty much like a lot of their show heifers too, that they turned him out. So he's won genetically. He's a style son, so he's going to work, and he's going to put some freakiness into him, but still have good feet and legs and power and whatnot. But she's going to be one that a really nice show heifer, and I've been really excited with this set because they're all real sweet, like almost annoying sweet.
Yes,
so there's not
they very much are.
Yeah, and I really
she needs to break calves for a living. Sure.
I don't know about that. That's doing what I did was a little hard on me, but we were really fortunate this year. We always have a couple dumb ones, but I haven't met one yet. And we just tied up a couple more heifers that we have here at the house, and it was their first time ever tying up, and they're sitting there chewing their cud. And I'm like, God, what happened to you guys this year? Like, you guys are so calm. So I know that's really hard to come by sometimes, especially when you get one that good.
Right.
Usually when they're that good, they're dumb. They've got an attitude, or whatever, and she is not. She is so sweet and so gentle. So, this set in general of mine, at least, have just leaps and bounds, especially going from Oregon to, Oklahoma. Your guys' weather is different and everything like that. And so I couldn't believe how good they looked when I went down there, because they'd only been there, 3 days, 4 days?
Oh, not very long. No.
Yeah, so I was really thinking they were going to look.
Friday night, and you got here, on Tuesday or Wednesday?
Yeah. So I was expecting them to look a tick rough. I just was like, travel, they've never been on the trailer for that long, and I was like, God, they look pretty good. I was like, okay. And now I know that they're getting used to that over there. And in this next couple of weeks, oh my God, they're just going to blossom into these crazy freaks that I know that will go down there and be competitive and showcase what we're looking for and what we're selling and what we have, which is what we're trying to do.
Right. Another good one. Jim, these next two, we go back to you with the lot 9. We've got a first round pick. We got a February female. She's a 31.3 balancer.
31.3. This is basically the same genetic package as that lot 7. Yep. So she'd be a first round pick out of an aftershock again. A little bit different on the bottom side of that dam, but this is one that is extremely long spine. She's got great front end. This one's greener in her condition. We give John a hard time about his creep program, which is no creep. So these cattle are what they are,
right.
And when we took these pictures, they had just got on show feed. We started them on a creeper pellet. These cattle haven't been on any type of silage or anything like that. And this one's greener, but from a profile standpoint, don't know you can make much better than this with the body condition that they're in.
Right.
And this one's definitely had some fans that have come and looked. So.
Yeah, Jim, I thought these cattle were supposed to have a little more front to them.
Well, remember early on when I was talking about I wanted everybody to be able to appreciate
yes.
it? It's come a long way.
Yes. You've done a good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She is nice. And like Jared said, she's really nice fronted. Another good one that I have a lot of appreciation for. Let's roll on here. We got the lot 10. We got a class action. She's a 91. How you guys figure all these percentages? I don't know. 91.8 gal feed. She's a February.
I'm not even going to try. I'm not getting that deep into the breed. So
91.1 and above contributes 50 to the offspring.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a 91.1 is the same as 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I do math.
Anything. Yeah. So anything this female would have, you could breed this one to straight Angus or however you wanted to do that. according to breed rules, and you would have a 50-50
Okay.
on this one. So this is a big bellied sound one. This one's a little more traditional through her front end, but I mean, she's made right. And this one is another one just like that lot one that is annoying as can be, because she will come up, she will lick on you. I mean, this one has no problems. I haltered her the first day, and she stood there at the fence, same way Katelyn was talking about, and just chewed her cud. I mean, we weaned them calves, and we hard weaned them this year. I go out there to feed them a pellet that they've never seen before, and this girl's coming up to the feed bucket to me and sniffing all over me. I like this one quite a bit just for body and capacity. And when she gets on the move, I think this one's extremely good. She's got enough muscle to her. You know, she doesn't have that choke neck, but, you know, when you get in that purebred division, a lot of those things don't. But if you're looking to get in the breed and you got a young one, this one is one to definitely look at, because she's got the attitude, she's got the pieces, and when you turn around and breed her, you can breed her a lot of different ways, and she's going to work, because obviously these are the type of females that Jim and John raised up there at the ranch that produce these other heifers that we're looking at. And so this one, like I said, maybe more traditional, but on a breeding aspect, this one's pretty special, I think.
Right. Jim, that
This is gonna make somebody a really good cow, and with their disposition the way it is, it'd be great for a first time showman that was wanting to start his herd.
Right. That 926 cow, she's got to be a good one.
Yes.
Okay. She, yeah.
Yeah, she's a black impact, and those black impacts have made some really, really nice cattle, you know, at the ranch with the bulls, and I think there's been some females out of those that have done quite well.
Right. Katelyn, we come back on this lot 11, and I'm kind of interested because we're kind of in the semi thing just a little bit as well, kind of playing with it a little, and we've got one bred to Lover Boy as well, so interested in hearing about this purebred female here. She's a March female.
So she was one that her grandmother, we actually bought from Cattleina Ranches, and that was my first kind of like dip my toe in, kind of see how it goes kind of thing. And so that's a partner cow that we own with Trainums, and that was the calf she was pregnant with when I bought her, was the Lover Boy's mom, who was a Night Watch. And like I said, I wasn't quite sure, and this, Night Watch came out, and I'm like, have you seen are their feet supposed to be that big? I feel like that's abnormal. Like, their feet should not be that big. And he's laughing at me, and I'm like, I just don't understand. And I'm like, because you look at Angus cows, and they're not that big, that stout when they come out. They're kind of little petite things, and they grow to be that. So when they come out that way, it was like a whole nother ball game for me. So this is actually her first heifer calf too. So that was kind of cool. So I've got a couple this year that I was really excited, because that was my best crop, was my Simmental first calf heifers. That was a pretty good start for me. And I know Bailey and I talked a lot about it when Jared was off wandering, finding the ones he liked, because I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. I'm just trying to make a good one. And Bailey goes, yeah, I think you're doing just fine. She's like, she's like, and I remember her being like, no, you're doing good. She's like, I've seen a lot of cows and I've done it. And she's like, you're doing just fine. So this is one that she'll be a purebred. She's going to be one that maybe the more traditional, like you was talking about purebred. Because like I said, I don't really know anything. And to me, I'm like, she's got a lot of front. And then as soon as you lift her head up and you tie her to the panel, you come back around, you're like, who's that? And so, and I know Jared said somebody came out and looked, she had her head down. He's like, oh, that one must be, a semi. And then he got her all tied up, and he came back around and he's like, which one's that? So
yeah, he did. He was like, is that same semi? He said, that one don't even look the same. And I'm like, well, yeah, you tie her head up, because these cattle are good dispositions. They just kind of wander around and they don't bother you. And, they're not headhunters or anything. And you tie them up and you're like, oh, that thing changed.
Right.
Like tremendously. And I was up there, we were setting up, we haven't done videos yet, but setting up that pen, and I'm watching this heifer walk around, and her feet are huge. But you watch that thing walk, and I mean, she, I call it the locomotion. Do they move their pasterns? Do they move their hocks? Or do they just kind of do a boomerang leg? And this one, she's got that locomotion. And for purebred, I know those things are are definitely getting better over the years, but this one's, I think, ahead of the curve on soundness, and she's got so much capacity and that length of spine, and I like this one quite a bit. I mean, she's been one of my favorites as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as they came out, that was between that and the 104 and the banker. So, like I said, for being somebody who has no idea what she's doing, the ones that they like the most from my Simmental. So, like, God, I guess I'm not doing too
Right.
bad, right?
Right.
Oh, definitely not.
I agree.
Yeah. No, we're definitely trying. We're just, like I said, we're just dipping our toes in it. But this is one I think that, the big dogs that come in here and,
Right.
been doing this for centuries, and family members and whatever. But, like I said, I'm trying, and I think like what I'm doing is working. And I know Jared and I have talked a lot about, these work with these ones and whatnot. But
Right. Looks like you're for not knowing much, you're doing pretty well. So,
I appreciate it.
Jared, how do you keep getting in with these cattle that are so good? I mean, I know you're good as well, but man, you've hit a good lick. Because this lot 12 again, we're coming back to another one. We got a 50% balancer here. We got a first step. She's a January female, and this one, just by the picture, this one is smoking good.
Yeah, this is a January, and she is out of first calf heifer.
Jeez.
And so, we're talking about maybe that last one didn't have the prettiest neck there.
Mm-hmm.
This was a 50-50. This is one that you can raise out of that last one.
Mm-hmm.
This is first step daughter. We've had national champions out of them first step daughters. We've had a national champion out of the surveillance, bred back to that baby G cow, the Claire Allen cow. We call her baby G because that was my first introduction with helping Jim, and she's just kind of the baby Gelby and become a matriarch there, but kind of got off on that. But this thing is so dense. She's square bodied, good feet and legs underneath her. She's got a little baby fat on her, but those cows milk so good. I think in time that's going to come out of her. And I mean, this one's solid. Me and Bailey were walking through those, and you go through, I don't know how many head we went through in those days, but I went through them multiple times, and me and Jim did, and me and Bailey went back up and went through them again. And this one hits you in that first calf heifer group, and we're like, somebody needs to show that one. Like it's, you just gravitate towards this one a lot.
Right.
And we've had some success with the first steps out of the surveillance.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So you're just going to continue on with this one, I would believe.
Yes.
I would believe that.
This heifer's mother has a bunch of full sibs that are probably all going to get bred to first step this spring.
Oh yeah, make a bunch of these then. And then we go to lot 13. We got a first round pick here, and she's another February female. She's a 37.5 balancer.
Yeah, another first round pick. Semen's not available on that bull. We sold packages on him, so the only way to get that is to have already bought a package or these daughters. And you look at that, the success that he's already had, first round. There's genetic punch there, but this one's another one that's just really stout made. She was a little greener in this picture, but I was looking at her today. This thing has caught up, and these things have different cycles of development just based on age, and this one's coming on strong. And correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think depending on management, there's 4 to 5 heifers in this group that all could win a national champion as a bred if they're managed right.
Yep.
I mean, it would just be which one. Obviously we've got some favorites out in the lead right now, but I think this one's one that definitely could. Now I will say this one is not the first year kid one. I don't want anybody to say that. She's not mean. If you've ever led a calf before, you're probably fine, but I don't want somebody getting out there, and I just want to be frank with everybody. This one's not for that first year kid, but yeah, she's vocal. Bailey says, she'll beller at you. You go to, you'll walk her up to the fence and she'll put her, kind of turn her head and beller, and then she'll stand up there and chew her cut. So it's not anything like that.
Right.
It's just, this one's not but I like this heifer quite a bit. I mean, she just needed time on feed, and she's there. And I wish we had all the time in the world but I think on her video, when you're watching this before the sale, that you be able to really appreciate her.
Right. Absolutely agree. The lot 14, we got a Hugh Hefner female here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not big into the balancers or the Gelbies or anything like that, but I didn't realize there was the Hugh Hefner out there.
Yeah.
Hugh Hefner's a heifer bull we use that Dr. Jeff Pollock here in Oklahoma bought
Okay.
from Jared Ranch up in Kansas.
Okay.
This heifer would be another out of a first calf heifer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's going back to that Lazy MC Top Gun bull. The bone work on that thing. This was Bailey's kind of pick out of there, and I have to say that I flat missed this one.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had people come in and this is their pick out of the offering. She's got the look. This one gets better every day. Being out of that first calf heifer, I think this one's going to be still something from Emily Griffith, but this one's going to be Sasquatch legged.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just going to be huge legged. She's got the look. I don't know what to say about this heifer besides watch her video and watch out, because this one might come blowing past you pretty quick.
Right. She's nice. Jared, like we were on the other night, it was like, they're talking about how good these are, and yeah, if they're just listening, they can't all be that good. Guys, check them out. Check them out. These cattle are that good. And we don't stop here with a lot 15. We got a first step. She's a quarter balancer, February female here on this one, and she's going to end up the offering quite nice.
Jim, tell us about that Payne cow there.
We have some neighbors and close friends out in the cow country that been friends for years and years and years, and they got into the Angus business for a while, and they were buying pot loads of good shop bred heifers from Kelly Shop.
Mm-hmm.
And they started having their own sale, and the first year they had the sale, I went over there and I bought 2 outstanding heifers, which the mother to this heifer would be one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Out of first step, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually got a full sib sister to this one that'll be calving in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Big footed.
Yeah, I mean this one's got a deep heel to her. I was looking at her today. Long extended. She's another one that just was a little green at picture time, but just getting better. Rib shape is tremendous, and if you want to talk about making people think that Gelbies have front ends, you need to check this one out, because she has none.
Right.
I mean, it almost to the point it's like that's probably as far as we need to go in this breed, because I've seen lots of different breeds that don't have or have more chest than this one does. So those long extended ones are what I like, and this one definitely is, and she gets around great.
Right. What a good way to end that lineup with this one, and quality all the way through this here. The Cattleina Mixer here on SC on October 24th, and all these cattle are in Stillwater at your place, right, Jared?
They will be. We're doing videos at the ranch, and then we'll bring them down here.
Okay.
We're 5 minutes north of Stillwater from the turnpike. Not on the turnpike, but you go north there, just make the curve on I-77. What did you say? No, 177, not I-77. Bailey's just put in the background here. But go 177 north out of Stillwater. If you get to Bill's Corner, which is the stop sign up there, come back 1.25 miles. But we'll have a sign out front. Cattle will be displayed here. So when you're around the area and you're looking for your next show steer, and you're visiting some of these other guys with different breeds, we're going to give you an option to come and look at some Simmentals, some Angus, and then come check out these Gelbies and Balancers and see what we've done with them. Obviously, Katelyn's made it to where you don't have to go to Oregon.
Right.
We're not going to make you drive an hour north to the ranch and look at those things. We've brought them to you, and so you're going to be able to see probably 500 head around the Stillwater area.
Right.
And so we'll be having an open house 15th and 16th, and then those cattle will be on display here at the house till the 24th, and you can get a hold of me or Bailey, text, phone call, Facebook Messenger,
Snapchat.
smokes. I'm Caw Indian, so smoke signal, however you would like to do it. But or just pull up, and I'll we'll put a kind of the old mailbox out there with a list of everything, and grab you a cold beverage, and Bailey will have some cookies made and Chex Mix, and she's the baker, and so we'll have that.
Listen, we are a one-stop shop, full service.
And even get your hair done.
Kind of operation.
Yeah, you can. You can
like
get your
I
hair
said.
done. So that's what we're going to do on that, and then just like the Revolution sale, I'm going to be available to consult on these cattle. Get to the show. We're going to make sure you get the best fit and help that is humanly possible that I can round up. And I think we do a pretty good job of presenting the cattle at a very, very high level. And so I'm going to be available for that, me and Bailey and the crews that I put together. You're not just buying a calf, you're buying into a program. And that's what I pride myself on. And from that education background, I think sometimes we get a little too hopped up on playing loud music and stuff. We're still developing those kids. We're giving them a product that, obviously, with Katelyn's and Jim's attitude towards these cattle, they're going to be real world. So when you're done, they're not just a teaching tool.
Right.
We're really putting it to heart that these cattle are going to go out and perform. Jim, what do y'all sell? 150 bulls private treaty every year?
Yep, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, these are real world cattle that go out and perform. So you're not just buying a show heifer, you're buying something that can obviously made it up, best genetics in the country, proven record. We pride ourselves in customer service, and we want you to give us the opportunity to work with you.
Right.
So
when you buy one, you're buying into the family.
Right.
It's all part of it. Yeah, once you start with us, it's pretty hard to get rid of us.
Oh yeah, we're like a bad smell that needs pink oil.
Need some pink oil. Sure. Need some pink oil sprayed in it, right, Jim?
There you go.
Well, guys, I sure appreciate you getting together for this one, and appreciate you making this one work, and going almost all the way across the country here, out in Grand, Oregon, and Kansas City, and right there in Stillwater, Oklahoma. So, guys, appreciate it. Again, that's the Cattleina Mixer on SC October 24th with Jim Dobson and Katelyn McCoy from McCoy Angus, and Jared Bain and Bailey Wesner. They're doing the consulting on that. So, guys, appreciate you being on the podcast here.
Oh, thank you, Andy.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
All right. Again, Cattleina Mixer, SC, October 24th. Again, the open house on October 15th and 16th in Stillwater. We want to thank these guys, and we want to thank you for listening to another edition of Before the Bid Podcast.